Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm about to test my audio and then we will get started. Thank you to everybody who's here in the private community. I am getting everybody on Facebook, and I think I did YouTube and Twitter. I think, oh, hold on. It is not public on Facebook. There we go. Make sure I can hear myself. Yeah, I can hear myself. Okay, cool. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited that you are here. Hold on. So yeah, hi, Teacher Don. Thank y'all so much for being here. Everybody in the private community, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. So people are still coming in. Y'all hold on. I got to send the baby boomers the link because y'all know the baby boomers, they don't be knowing. So hold on. I hope y'all are doing well today. This is only gonna be like 30 minutes. I'm just telling y'all what's going on and why I'm doing what I'm doing. How do I get the link? I'm talking about the baby boomers. Child, I don't even know how to get the link. Oh, here it is. I think. Yeah. Here it is. Okay. All right. So hey, everybody that's here and everywhere that you are. Let me send this link. Boom. Okay. So hey again. Let's see. Y'all know me. I'm Nicole. I'm the founder of Conquer Learning Company. I am a suicide prevention solutionist. I'm a mental health resource educator. And I'm here to tell y'all about my company and why it is that I am doing what I'm doing. I started out in 2012 doing suicide prevention. And what happened, I was on social media and I saw a girl named Dominique Chandler. And Dominique had decided that she no longer wanted to be alive because of the pressures of, being in college and stuff. And when I saw her picture, I was like thinking about, all the people who could have saved her, all the people who crossed her path, and didn't know what she had going on. And so I had my first suicide prevention event in September of 2012. And here we are 12 years later. And I am still doing suicide prevention and all of that. So I first started out as like an entity, right? Like just me. Then I did the nonprofit thing. And let me tell y'all something. Everybody's like, oh, you just get a nonprofit and you just get a lot of grants and you live your life and stuff. And it's like, baby, that's not how it works. And I needed a way to still make an impact, but be able to make a better impact, right? So in 2020, I decided to transition over into the business to business model. And then in 2020, the world shut down, which like totally screwed everything up. And so I had to think about like, what is it that I can do to kind of make the impact that I need to make? And so from all of that, Conquer Learning Company was birthed. So where do I want to start? The first thing that I want to talk about is why I do what I do. So everybody knows that the suicide rates are really high. They aren't going down, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. In 2019, I did more work than I have ever done. And in 2019, the suicide numbers went down for the first time in over a decade. And so to me, I'm like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing out here in these streets, right? But of course, then the pandemic happened, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So when I first started doing suicide prevention, it was that one person unalived themselves every 19 minutes. Okay. One person every 19 minutes. Now it's one person every 11 and a half minutes. So it's like, it's not getting better, it is getting worse. And I am a firm believer that a lot of what people do as it relates to suicide and suicide prevention, and I'm going to choose my words carefully, um, I don't really think it's as effective as it could be. I think that a lot of times when it comes to people not wanting to be alive, we're so quick to want them to go to therapy. We're so quick to want them to sign up for all of this mental health stuff. But first of all, a lot of mental health institutions are abusive. A lot of mental health institutions are akin to prisons. And so, if you have someone who is struggling, if you have someone who is having a hard time with their mental health, they're not going to want to go somewhere where they're going to be bound up, where they're not going to be able to talk to their friends. Hey, Candace, where they're not going to be able to use their phone, where somebody's going to be breathing down their neck and all of that, right? So then you have the therapy component. And in the therapy component, if you go to therapy and your insurance company pays for it, your therapist is supposed to diagnose you with something in order for them to get paid. Now, the issue with that is that a lot of times when people have depression, when people have suicidal ideation, it may be situational. And I'm not saying that people do not have something going on like a chemical imbalance or anything like that, right? But I'm talking from the perspective of someone who has talked over 3,000 people out of suicide. I'm not some random person who googled. I'm telling you from my life experience. 9 times out of 10, people are suicidal because they are in a situation in their life that they don't think they can overcome. It could be a breakup. It could be they don't have food. They don't have a job, right? So let's play this out. So you encounter somebody who does not want to be alive because they don't have a job, right? So then you send them to therapy. So they go to therapy for months so that they can learn how to cope with not having a job. When you could have just sent them to a job counselor, you could have just sent them to someone to help them with their resume, right? Let's say you have someone who is dealing with food insecurity. They don't know how they're going to feed their children. And you're like, oh, well, you should just go and talk to somebody. You should just go and talk to a therapist because you're depressed. And it's like, they need food. So can you feed them? Can you send them to the food bank? And so a lot of times we go about stuff the wrong way because we're so colonized, right? We're so institutionalized. We want everything to fit in a bucket. We want everything to have a nice little neat label. But the reality, the truth of the matter is that one of the greatest things you can do to save someone's life is to walk with them through the situation that they're going through, right? Not to just dump them off on a therapist. And let me say this, and I love therapists. I have a therapist. I have 2 therapists. I've been in therapy since I was 23. I am 40. So I've been in therapy over a decade. I've been in therapy almost 2 decades, right? A lot of therapists are not trained in suicide prevention. And if you know this, and you may not know this because you may have never called, but when you call the suicide prevention hotline, the crisis line, or whatever, you don't talk to a therapist. You talk to a regular person who's just like you. And then if it gets like over the top and whatever, a therapist may intervene. Now, there are therapists in the background, making sure that everything is everything. But you're not talking to a therapist when you're in the middle of a crisis. You're talking to Bob, who works at Walmart. You're talking to Suzanne, who works at Target, who just likes helping people in her spare time, right? So that tells you that there's a mismatch between what we say works and what actually works. And so, one of the things that my company is here to do is to bridge that gap, but to do so through the power of education. Because a lot of times, if you knew where to send somebody, if you knew what to tell somebody to do, you wouldn't feel so nervous. You wouldn't feel so insecure. You wouldn't feel so, I don't know what to do, right? Because you would have the resources and the skills and everything that you needed to get the person exactly what they needed, right? So one thing that my company is here to do is to teach and to train people who are leaders how to be life-saving leaders. That doesn't mean you have to be a therapist. That doesn't mean that you have to go to school. It doesn't mean any of that, but to literally integrate the life saving strategies that I use in my company, that I've used since I started this, to integrate those life saving strategies into your work so that you don't ever have to worry about a crisis decimating your company or your school or your ministry, because there are times when something like that happens and people do not bounce back, right? There are times when something like that happens and nothing is ever the same. And so, hey. And so, for me, my goal, my ultimate goal is to take the framework that I have used throughout this time. Of course, I've developed it and refined it and stuff, but to take that framework and to distribute it out into the world, right? So I'm going to tell you the ways in which I'm going to do that and the ways in which my company is going to do that. And then we're going to be done and we're going to come back at 7, but y'all don't have to come back because y'all came right now. So, but you can come back if you want to. One thing about me, I'm super like informal. Like, you know how people, they come online, they have like all these slides and stuff. It's like, child, I'm gonna just tell y'all what it is, and that's just it. Okay. So having said that, my company is designed to work with multiple audiences. All right. And so the first audience that I'm going to be working with in Conquer Learning Company is small business owners. So if you own a small business, what you have to understand is that the wealth of your company lies in the health of the people who work for your company. And if the people in your company are unwell mentally, then it causes a lot of things. It causes a loss of profit. And then here's another thing y'all have to understand. We are in a season and in a time now where people aren't just unaliving themselves. They're unaliving themselves, their wife, their kids, themselves, their children, themselves, their grandma, their granddaddy, their uncle, themselves, their 17 coworkers. You get what I'm saying? So even from a safety perspective, you cannot, when I have a chance, make this shareable. Why is it not shareable? What is going on? You cannot. I don't know why it's not shareable. I'm gonna share it. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Um, Let me make it public again. You cannot afford, as a business owner, to not understand what to do in the time of a crisis. You can't afford that, right? So, what I'm going to do in the small business space is I have several trainings and courses that I'm going to license to small business owners so that you can take the leadership of your company through the training so that they understand how to approach suicide prevention, and mental health crises from a holistic perspective, from a communal perspective. Because at the end of the day, community has saved more lives than therapy. Community has saved more lives than mental health institutions. A lot of times, people just need people to rally around them. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. I'm African American. If you couldn't tell, I mean, I don't know if you could tell that or not. By the cotton on top of my head, the wool and cotton mixture. But I'm African American, if you didn't know. And so in our culture, we have this thing called the ring shout, right? And so what the ring shout was that if someone was sick, if someone was depressed, if someone was grieving, they would stand in the middle of the circle and the people in our culture would dance around them, right? And the collective energy of that would lift up the person. It would lift up their spirits. It would lift up their mental, right? We have always been communal people. And it wasn't until colonization happened that we became individualistic, but that's not the way that we were made to be. So, if you are a small business owner, you have to understand that first and foremost, you are managing people, right? And you have to steward those people in every way. And you want to make sure that if someone around you is suffering or struggling, do you know how many times people go to work, right? And they leave work and they come home and they unalive their whole family? What if there was a sign at their job that said, if you are feeling this type of way, call this number. If you are feeling this type of way, go in room such and such and such and such and pick up a pamphlet or do this or do this. What if your company had its own customized, I want you to stay alive video? That if someone felt like they wanted to unalive themselves, they could go in a quiet room and watch the video. You see what I'm saying? People think that saving people's lives is so complicated. I'm going to tell y'all something. Someone hit me up the other day and they needed some money. And y'all know how it is. People ask you for money. You ain't talked to them in 17 years. And they're like, hey girl, I need some money for some food for me and my kids, right? So I'm like, and I pray about everything. Call me super spiritual, whatever. I pray about everything. And I was like, God, like, what do you want me to do? And God was like, give them the money and tell them not to pay it back. And that was the second time this week that has happened. And so I gave the person money. I was like, you don't have to pay it back. I said, whenever you encounter someone who needs it, just pay it forward. Don't pay it back to me. Pay it forward. So the next day, the person hit me up and they were like, hey, I just want you to know that last night I was strongly considering taking my life, me and my kids, because I didn't want them to suffer in this world without me, right? That little piece of money that I had literally saved someone's life. Not sending them, and I'm not against therapy. That's not what I'm saying. But it wasn't me sending them to therapy. It wasn't me praying over them. It wasn't me inviting them to church. It was me seeing the need that they had and understanding how I needed to meet it and meeting it. Do you know how many people unalive themselves and you could have saved their life with a sandwich? You could have saved their life with a hug. You could have saved their life with some clothes to go to a job interview, because you have to think about it. A lot of times people are in cycles of sadness and sorrow, right? The example I always use with small business owners is, let's say you have someone who you're paying them and what you pay them barely makes their ends meet, right? But you need them to do the work so that you can make more money so that you can pay them more. So let's say they do DoorDash on the side, right? And let's say they have their car payment on auto pay. And let's say that their car payment is $220. Okay. All right. So with the job that you give them, they're able to meet their basic needs, but that's it. They can't get gas, they can't get food, they can't do any of that unless they DoorDash. Okay. So let's say they have $220 in their account because that's what they allot for their car, right? They worked harder and harder and harder and harder, and they made the $220 and it's in their account. Let's say Apple comes in like a thief in the night and snatches $199. So now they have $218 and a penny in their account. So then when their car payment drafts, right, it either doesn't take it or it takes it, and now they have an overdraft fee, and now they're in the hole. So now they have to work extra hard to create more money to get out of the hole. But let's say that it doesn't take it, right? So it doesn't take it. So let's say 2 or 3 days later, their car gets repossessed. Now they can't get to work. Now they can't make extra money because they don't have a car to DoorDash. And if they want their car back, they have to pay 2, 3, 4, 5 times as much, right? Because let's say their car was already behind and they were just barely making it. Okay. $1.99 just broke that person's life. Literally, right? I don't think people realize how little it takes for somebody's life, somebody's mind, somebody's mental to unravel. And it could be anybody. It could be the best of the best, most put together person. People have jumped off buildings over sales reports. People have jumped off buildings over layoffs. You see what I'm saying? And so if you are a small business owner, you have to learn how to insulate your business so that you're not finding yourself walking into your job one day thinking everything was cool and finding out by the end of that day that there has been a tragedy. So that you don't have people working for you who are pretending to be okay and they're not okay. So that you don't have people embezzling from your company because they don't have enough money to get their physical needs met. And you did not know all the resources that you could have given them that would have helped them to solve their problem, right? And so when it comes to small business owners, my goal and the goal with Conquer Learning Company is to get you to understand the holistic perspective of what your leadership really is, because you're not a leader just to make money for a company. You are a leader so that your life and your leadership and your influence can help someone else to develop a better and a more stronger and a more well-rounded life, right? The next group of people that Conquer Learning Company is going to be working with is social media influencers and like influencers and community leaders. So like people who have online communities and stuff like that. And what I'm going to be teaching you, if you are an influencer or a community leader, is how to guard your influence, because parasocial relationships are very dangerous. So a parasocial relationship is when you really think you know somebody because you see them online. Okay. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Your favorite influencer, like let's say Keith Lee, Mama Todd, Zoe Fenty, Beyonce, like whoever, right? We know a lot about these people because they're always in the limelight, right? But we don't know them. Like I know Keith Lee, what he likes. I know what his wife looks like. I know what he looks like. I know how he sounds. I know his personality, but I don't know him. Okay. So a lot of times what happens is when you become an influential person, these parasocial relationships will have people idolizing you to the point that when they're in a crisis, they're not going to go to crisis people. They're going to come to you because they love you and they trust you, and they don't understand that though they see you online every day, that doesn't mean that y'all are like in relationship with each other. You get what I'm saying? And so the most important thing when it comes to influential people is you have to learn how to create that boundary so that you don't feel bad, like if you couldn't save somebody and they unalive themselves, or if you couldn't pay somebody's bill or whatever, right? You need to know how to confidently and carefully and skillfully and respectfully and kindly and compassionately um redirect people to who can help them, right? So when it comes to social media influencers and real life influencers, not that social media isn't real life, but y'all know what I'm saying, influencers, um I'm going to be teaching y'all all of that. And then my last one, and I really want to spend a little bit of time here and I want to show y'all something. The last thing that I am relaunching in Conquer Learning Company with Conquer Learning Company is the Love Bridge. Now, the Love Bridge is my faith-based leadership community, and all you really have to do is believe in God. Like if you, well, you ain't even really got to believe in God, but like the company is the Love Bridge is about faith. Hold on, y'all. Okay, yeah. The Love Bridge is about faith, and I'm gonna try to talk about this without getting emotional, but One of the reasons that I started my company is because I knew that I had to make an impact that I couldn't make by myself, right? So I wanted to be able to work with large corporations and license my trainings for tens of thousands of dollars and all that stuff. Um, because I knew the level of impact that I needed to make. And so I'm trying to say this in a way that's not okay, let me say it like this. With what is going to happen in America, because something is going to happen either way. We have to have safe spaces and safe places. And unfortunately for us, a lot of faith communities are no longer safe because of politics, because of greed, because of abusers being in leadership for many reasons. Yeah, faith communities aren't as safe as they used to be. And so one thing that the Love Bridge is going to do is it's going to equip faith leaders to learn how to steward people. Um, I started the Love Bridge in part because of a young man named Hayden Jackson. And I promised myself that whenever I launched my company to the public, so basically my company is already open, but we don't do business with the public. We only do business with people that I pick. So starting Monday, anybody from the public will be able to do business with my company. And so yeah, hence the grand opening weekend. But anyway, so I promised myself that no matter what, I'm trying not to get emotional, y'all. I promised myself that whenever I launched my company, I would talk about Hayden. I'm gonna play something for y'all, and then I'm gonna talk about the Love Bridge, and then I'm going to tell y'all how y'all can connect with Conquer Learning Company, and then we'll be done. So, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Please don't let me start crying on this internet with these people. I said these people like y'all ain't sit here on the thing. Okay, so I'm about to play this so y'all can see Hayden. Hold on. Share screen. Hayden. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to start it kind of far, and I'm going to tell y'all why I'm showing y'all this when I get done. Wait a minute, y'all. I'm going to back up some. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, I'm going to back up some more. Okay, here we go. Somebody say it'll never lose its power. Okay. So that was Hayden. Hayden is arguably one of the greatest musicians, period, to ever live. Like, honestly. So that was 2017. Literally a year later, Hayden took his life with a pew pew. I can't say the word because I'm on social media. He took his life. Hayden was really popular in the church. He was popular among preachers. He was popular among pastors. Everybody always got him to come and play. Everybody, wanted him at all the big conventions, and everybody loved him and stuff. And it's like, he had an event, he had an incident, he had a traumatic thing to happen to him. And from the outside looking in, it wasn't that big of a deal. It happens all the time. But for him, it was like the ultimate rejection, right? And so Hayden used to like lose himself in his music. But sometimes life gets to the point where what you used to be able to lose yourself in, it doesn't have that same effect. It's kind of like people who do drugs. The reason they graduate to higher and higher and stronger drugs is because the drugs that they used to use don't work anymore. And so what makes me so mad, like honestly, is that we live in a world where everyone wants us to be consumed, right? Like if you are a gifted person, if you are a person with the gift of servitude, if you are a person who has particular skills, everyone just wants to like consume you. Like, do this for me, do that for me, do this for me, do that for me. And y'all, people are hurting and they do not want to be alive, and nobody notices it. That baby didn't wake up one day and be like, oh, this happened. Bye. That baby suffered in his life. Hey, Tasha. That baby suffered in his life because he didn't feel like he was understood. And he felt like people only wanted him for what he had to offer them. Now, I'm going to take that out of the church and I'm going to bring it back to the world. I want y'all to look up Kevin Hines. Kevin Hines is the person who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived. I met Kevin Hines in 2022. He's an amazing guy. One of my favorite people. He said that what made him jump... Rebecca! Hey! He said that what made him jump off the bridge was the fact that, he was going through it. He was depressed, right? But he said to himself, if someone, me too, Rebecca, if someone would just be nice to me, if someone would just smile at me, if someone would just speak to me, I won't jump, right? And he said that he was walking and he was crying. And this lady walked up to him and she didn't speak a lot of English. She was like, from somewhere. And she walked up to him and he's like, oh, somebody's going to speak to me, And she has this little disposable camera. And she says to him, she doesn't say, hey, she doesn't say, how you doing? She says to him, can you take our picture? She didn't know that he was thinking about unaliving himself. But it just goes to show the cannibalism of our culture, the consumerism of how can you benefit me? I don't care how you are. I don't care how you're doing. How can you benefit me? So the man, and I can't tell it like he can, he takes the tears in his eyes. He takes the picture. He hands the lady the phone. He walks over to the ledge and he jumps off the bridge. Now, how he was spared and all that, I'll let him tell us. So y'all look it up and y'all, watch it. It's amazing. But y'all, how that man could have died. Not many people survived that jump. Like a handful of people did, right? Hello, how are you doing could have saved that man's life. But if you're not conscious of how to integrate life-saving strategies in your everyday life, you can pass by 10 people like Kevin Hines and not even know it. You could be at work with somebody like Hayden and not even know that when he gets off work, he's going to go to his house and get a pew pew and unalive himself. And so I know that because I went through it. So y'all, I tried to unalive myself over 22 times. And it is only the grace of God that I am even alive to tell my story, because I felt like the only purpose I had in this world was to do what everyone else wanted me to do. And I was like, God, like, I don't want to do this. I would rather be with you and have peace in my mind and in my spirit and in my soul than to constantly be used and abused, right? People are not okay. They are talking about, Latasha said, that's why I make a point to speak to just about exactly. That is so important because you never know what people are going through, right? On a day-to-day basis. You never know what people are experiencing. And so my goal with my company, with my content, with my social media, with my life, right, is to, okay, sorry, is to make sure that people understand the power that we have, right? Because it's all, statistics and numbers until it's your child, until it's your cousin, until it's your friend. And y'all, we are descending down into the abyss of terrible times. I don't care what side you're on the political spectrum. It's going to be rocky and crazy either way. I was about to say the Bible says studies show that the average empire lasts 250 years, right? And America is, I can't remember because I didn't look this up before. I think it's 247. America is 248. America is 248 years old. The average empire lasts 250 years. History repeats itself. So, historically speaking, putting the two candidates aside, because whatever, the shaking that our country is experiencing was bound to happen anyway, because it's just what happens. People can only go about 250 years getting along, and then something has to give, something has to split up, something has to. And so the times that we are going into are not going to be easy for people. I was reading an article, they were talking about how in Texas road rage has doubled doubled since 2018. People are mad, people are short-tempered, people have a lot going on. And if you are a leader, you have a responsibility to learn how to mitigate loss, calamity, chaos, right? And so my goal is to ensure that people, me either, Tasha, I really wanted to vote for my baby, but I was like, girl, you can't go in there and vote for the baby. You got to pick one of the people. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I wanted to vote for my child and be like, put my child in the White House. It'll be fine. Everybody will get along. It'll be all right. But, things are just going into a bad time. And if you are a leader and you feel this call and this push to do more, to say more, to be more open, you need to follow that because people need what you have to offer. But then when people come to you and they're in distress, you need to know what to do and what to say so that you don't inadvertently you don't inadvertently fail to intervene where you could have intervened. I'll say it like that. And so that's what my company is here to do. Hope that makes sense. So the Love Bridge is my faith-based membership community. It opens on November the 15th. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's what Conquer Learning Company is here for. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're doing. It took a lot for me to it took a lot for me to surrender to the fact that I am supposed to be doing this work because I have a strong ministry background, like a strong church background. And for years, people made me think that like what I do wasn't like real ministry. You know what I mean? And like thank you, Tasha, they're doing real ministry and I'm just over here, And so I had to go to therapy. I had to go to trauma therapy to become the person who is now able to run my company. One thing that I want to do in my company is I want to have a crisis assistance fund. And I want the crisis assistance fund to be no less than $1 million to start. And I want this fund to be able to assist people who do not feel, that's right, Tasha, who do not feel that they can go on. Y'all, the Bible says that money answers all things. And at the end of the day, most people's mental health would be better if they had money. People with money still have depression. Don't misunderstand me. People with money still go through it, right? But if you wanted to unalive yourself because you were tired of the cares of life, and I said to you, I will pay, hey Desmond, I will pay your rent, your biggest bill, your whatever for 3 months on the condition that you go through this financial literacy program that I'm partnering with, let's say Unapologetic Wealth with Natalie Bullen, right? Let's say we partner together and I pay Natalie to take you through this training or whatever to learn how to be wealthy and all this stuff and to manage your money or whatever the case may be, right? And my company will pay your bills for this amount of time while you go through the program, because once you finish the program, you'll know how to do what you need to do, right? Do you not understand that saving that person's life saves their children, saves their grandchildren, saves their children's grandchildren? You see what I'm saying? Everything we do goes so far beyond what we think and what we see. And I'm looking at the fact that the person who is really going to change the world hasn't been born. What if my mama unalived herself? There will be no Nicole who has saved 3,000 people from unaliving themselves. There would be no me because there would be no her, right? And so somewhere in the cosmos, I guess, I don't know where people be at, but I guess it's someone who hasn't yet come to this earth, right? And so how do I ensure that I empower enough people to know what to do, that person actually gets a chance to come into the world and do what they came to do? Because a lot of change agents never make it to the world because their parents don't stay alive. Seriously. And so I have a responsibility that I have not wanted to 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 shoulder, um to ensure that the message of stay here, right? And not just stay here, but the message that when you are a leader, and I'm about to get spiritual on y'all. So if y'all don't like spiritual stuff, then you can log off. It was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much for coming. Have an amazing day. So I believe that if you are a leader, that is a calling. I don't care nothing about like, let me rephrase. Being called to ministry is a wonderful thing, right? But being called to ministry does not mean that you have to preach in somebody's church. I believe that if you are a leader of a company, of a group of people, of a whatever, that is a holy calling. I'm talking about if you were called to do that. Now you just, you want to make $60,000 in 1988, so you just got a job. But like if you are a leader of people, that is a holy calling, right? And how do I sit here and know that you could add something to your leadership that would save generations of people, right? And I not tell you, how would I answer for that? How would I answer for the fact that I'm a literal lifesaver? I don't know if y'all know this, but like somebody will need something and I'll like comment like, hey, this is what you do. And they'll be like, oh my God, Nicole, you're a lifesaver. That is my calling. I'm a literal lifesaver in real life. And so, how could I be a lifesaver in real life and not empower other people to save lives? Do you know what a waste of life that would be? Like, God brought me through all of these attempts to unalive myself so that I could now teach and train people all over the world. Y'all, my manuals are being translated right now into 5 different languages because my goal is to be a global life-saving entity. My goal is that every year, Conquer Learning Company posts a report that shows how many people it was able to impact through the people that we teach and train with our products and services. My goal is that every year, Conquer Learning Company has a testimonial wall in our headquarters where we take the testimonies of people and we have them, I forgot what it's called. It's like macrame or something where you take something and you make it like y'all know what I'm talking about, all over the wall. Like my company is going to be a global entity, right? A global life-saving entity. And so that's where we are. That's what I'm doing. That's it. So hopefully you guys will hang out and stay connected. I'm going to post the links to all my stuff, right? Because I have several things that you can do right now. Reaching the nations, like the literal nations. Okay. So I'm going to post the child, how do I gotta go on Facebook to post the link. So I'm gonna post the links to everything. Um and I really hope I was able to convey like what I'm gonna be doing. I hope y'all understand, you know. I'm not really like a formal polished person. That's why I don't want to be a keynote speaker because child, I'm not putting on no lace front wig and getting up there talking. So yeah, I'm going to be a global trainer. I do not want to be a keynote speaker. Now, why is this thing saying that? I do not want to be a keynote speaker, because that's not the right link, Nicole. Oh my God. I do not want to be any of that. I want to train people all over the world to save lives, and that's it. So, yeah, that's it. If y'all have any questions, y'all can post them in the chat. If y'all have any comments, you can post them in the chat. I'm about to go say a special prayer for all of the people who are suffering and struggling in the world. Like, seriously, because people are really going through it and stuff is high and people are not okay. So, say a prayer for people, say a prayer for me. There we go. Because, child, heavy is the head, or whatever they say. Thank you, Teacher Don. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate everybody who has supported me over the decades of my life in all of my endeavors. My life-saving leadership training will be available on December the 1st for corporations. So if you want me to bring my life-saving leadership training to your job, tell your boss that I'll be emailing them, and then give me your boss's information so I can make it happen. All right, I'm gonna wait and see if y'all have any questions or comments. I love and appreciate you all. Thank you. So I'm gonna be speaking like virtually because I have to practice my like official speaking, because y'all know I just be talking because but I have to practice my official like presenting and training and doing webinars and stuff. So I'm gonna be going live doing that. So yeah, y'all will be able to hear that. One of the links I shared was for you to get on my general email list. So that's how you can keep up with the company and stuff and stuff and stuff. And so that's it, y'all. I'm rolling out. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me on the Saturday. I'm about to go to the suicide prevention walk in Charlotte. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be hitting up all of my friends and family with my company brochure. Thank you, Elder Veronica. I appreciate you. You have always been so supportive of me, and I appreciate it so much. Y'all, I'm going to say this last thing and then I'm going to go. Sometimes because I have been through so much in my life, it's hard to believe that what I do has value, right? So today I was getting ready for this, like for this whole day. And I was looking through like my social media social proof, like people who have commented and said stuff. And there was a girl that I talked to, and she was going to jump off of a parking deck. And I was going through my posts, and I remembered that she had messaged me. And I was reading back through the messages, and she was telling me about how she went to the parking deck that she was initially going to jump off of. And she like had this whole ritual where like she let go of all of her unforgiveness, and just it was so beautiful. And then she said that she got married and, she's doing well. She has a family. And y'all, let me just say this before I go. People in this world will make you believe that what you do is insignificant. Oh, thank you, Corey. I'm so glad you read it. People in this world will make you feel like what you do is insignificant, right? Because if you're not a pastor, if you're not a social media influencer, if you don't have a million followers, it can really make you feel like you're not making a difference, right? But like people always say, well, if I could just touch one person, da, 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 da. And I get that. And I agree, right? But we touch so many people and we never sit and think about it. So, what I challenge you to do today, if you are a leader of a family, a leader of a ministry, a leader of a company, I want you to really sit and take inventory. Like, take a journal, take a notebook, and just write down the people who come to mind whose lives you have positively impacted and touched. One thing that I'm going to do when I move out of where I live now, very soon, is get my impact wall back. So I had, in most every place I've ever lived, an impact wall. And on this wall, I have the pictures of people whose lives my life has impacted. So that on days when I don't feel like doing it, which is mostly a lot of days, honestly, I am able to look at that wall and say, if you didn't get up that morning and do what you did, that person's life wouldn't have been impacted. And so, yeah, do that. Take inventory seriously um, of the lives that you've impacted. And so, thank you so much for coming. I hope you got something out of this. I hope that you were inspired. I hope that you will partner with Conquer Learning Company to expand and deepen your impact. And yeah, I will see y'all around the social media streets. And that's it. I hope y'all have a great day. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for coming.